Okay, cool. That started then.
Welcome, welcome. Oh, so Marco,
Yeah, Hector, do you want me to move those two over as panelists?
yes, do. I don't know why I cannot do it. I click promote to panelist, but I cannot.
Just hit Julian, and now I will do Marco as well.
All right.
Estoy. Buen día. ¿Sí me escuchan?
Sí.
Ok. Ponerme en los-
Sí, Marco, sí. Creo que sí puedes.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, sí.
Voy a detener tu video, Marco, para que...
Ya está bien.
Right. Perfect. We are giving some time to start. Thank you everyone for joining this morning. All right. Well, let's start. Welcome everyone to the City of Portland celebration for Digital Rights Day, for days actually. This is a celebration that we are expecting this year that more than 20 cities around the world can join the City of Portland. We have been joining this network called the Cities Coalition for Digital Rights. You can visit the site. You can visit the site for the network. And let's start the day. And remember, this is a celebration for digital rights. We appreciate everyone who's joining this morning live. You will have the opportunity to send questions to the live panelists, and and let's start the day. Today, we have a really interesting agenda. Uh, First of all, let's remind everybody what digital rights are, right? So digital rights are basically human rights. These rights, you know, encompass and cover all fundamental human rights, but in the digital spaces, right? That includes privacy, freedom of expression, right to access to information online, and just the right to participate in the digital life in general. So digital rights ensure that individuals can access and can engage with digital services. They can participate in online communities, share contents, idea freely and safely, and without facing undue censorship, surveillance, or discrimination. So for today's session, we decided to share and showcase some of the work that our Smart City PDX program has been doing around surveillance technologies, particularly working with other partners in the city. You will be hearing about the speed cameras, you will be hearing about drones in the city, and at the end, we have a pre-recorded session with our CIO, Elise Rosenberg, and we are going to be chatting about AI, what is her experience in her new role, as a woman in IT. I think it's really important to emphasize all these different challenges that women have as well when they engage with technology. Again, this is a network that the City of Portland is joining with more than 20 cities around the world. We are very happy to be part of this network. We have been learning so much from other cities. We share knowledge, we share experience, and it's been very rewarding. And also makes me feel proud that Portland is part of this conversation from the get-go. The Cities Coalition for Digital Rights have 5 different principles that include the principle 1 is universal and equal access to internet and digital literacy, privacy, data protection, and security. The principle number 3 is transparency, accountability, and not discrimination. Principle number 4 is participatory democracy, diversity, and inclusion. And finally, principle number 5 is open and ethical digital service standards. So everybody kind of talks the same language. So today we are going to be having again all this fireside chat, which means we're going to have relaxed conversations and no slides included on all these different digital services. And well, Kevin has just joined. Kevin Block is my colleague from our Community Technology Division at the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability. He is going to be talking about all these different strategies to reduce the digital divide. Next, we are going to have Sergeant Kevin Allen, who is the Portland Police Public Information Officer. And we are going to have a conversation about the use of drones as first responders and law enforcement in Portland, and how all that digital rights are actually embedded in what we are doing. We are doing the due diligence. So it's a really interesting and important conversation as well. Next, at 11, we are going to be talking with Steve Hoyt Macbeth, who is Pivot's manager for the Speed Safety Cameras program that is connected with Vision Zero and all the efforts that the City of Portland is doing to reduce traffic incidents in the city and do code enforcement as well in our roads. Finally, as I mentioned, we'll be having this pre-recorded conversation with Elise Rosenberg. Unfortunately, she is not available at this time to join live, but we could arrange actually sometime before, and we're going to have that pre-recorded session available to all of you. So one of the intentions for these sessions are that you, if you are joining live, you can send questions. We should be have a Q&A feature available. You can also, if you are joining in a recorded session of this, we are actually recording this session, and we are going to upload this on YouTube. You are going to have access to how to reach out to every specific program and learn more about all the content that we are going to be sharing today. Just as a general resources for you to learn more about digital rights, the international networks, so you can access the website for the international event, which is in internationaldigitalrightsdays.com. Which is actually hosted and maintained by the CITES Coalition for Digital Rights, where you can find more information specifically about efforts that cities around the world, many in Europe, in the US, in the Americas, Africa, and slowly growing to more and more regions in the world available for the general public and officials who are working on these issues to, not start from zero and collaborate in digital rights are human rights and therefore universal for everybody. And finally, I would like to invite you to visit our program's website, the Smart City PDX program. We are part of the Community Technology Division and the Bureau of Planning and Sustainability. Please access through the website that you see on the screen. We regularly post news, sign up for our newsletter. We also post news about other issues around community technology as well. And with that, move to the next slide. There we go. Well, let's start our conversation with my colleague, Kevin Block. Here, I'm going to stop sharing so we can just have both of us talking about broadband. And before, well, Kevin, welcome and thank you so much for joining. Let me give a short bio of who Kevin is, and please add anything that you think is missing or you want to share about you. Kevin is originally from a small coal mining town in central Illinois. Kevin's path to Portland includes a degree in electrical engineering, 2 years designing construction equipment, 5 years working in automotive industry, a master's degree in city planning from Ohio State University, and 3 years in broadband policy. So it's something that I actually enjoy of my work is that I get to work with amazing people, just like Kevin, and most of my colleagues are like that. So they bring so much experience, and it's always rewarding to work with these professionals on these very important issues. Well, I keep going. Kevin's role at the City of Portland includes policy support for 3 programs, including our program, the Smart City PDX, the Franchise Utility Program, and Digital Equity. In this role, he led the city's participation in the working group that crafted HB 3148 for the state, which will expand the Oregon's Lifeline program to have an increased monthly benefit and one-time device purchasing benefit. Additionally, Kevin leads the city's large wireless equipment permitting program for equipment in the city's right of way. Outside his role in the city, Kevin is an avid hiker, cyclist, and serves as a chief steward of the city's Portland's Professional Workers Union. Thank you, Kevin, and welcome.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Hector, and thank you everyone for having me. So happy to be here today. I do have some slides, Hector. Do you want me to share them? I mean, I'm going to kind of use them as my discussion guide either way. What's the preference?
Do you want to use that? We don't have to.
It's 4 slides. I can walk through them real quick.
All right,
so time for discussion.
All right. I wonder, you should have the ability
I
to do that.
It looks like I'm disabled. I don't know if Wing, you can grant me ability real quick.
Yeah, I just made you co-host, Kevin.
Cool. Thank you. Just let me find the screen
And
here.
for everybody joining, one of the questions that I'm asking Kevin to share with everybody is, what are the latest news on digital access in Portland, right? Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much, Hector. It's a honor to be invited to speak here today, and it's great as always to work with you, Hector. When we talk about digital rights today, specifically what I'm focused on is like you have to be connected, right? Like that's a fundamental element. Like you can't live a modern full life without being connected in some way, shape, or form. So the program I'm going to talk about today, and I think I think this is kind of a celebratory event. I want to celebrate is Oregon Lifeline. Um, so, as Hector mentioned in my bio, I led the city's participation in a work group that expanded Oregon Lifeline. I think, yeah, we'll talk a little bit about what it is first, because it might be some terms that folks aren't familiar with. So, we'll start by talking about what Lifeline is. So, Lifeline is a federal program. It's across the entire nation, the entire United States, that initially started as a program to get rural communities connected to telephones, right? Back in the 70s and 80s when there weren't you might just live out in the country and not have access to a telephone. This program was to help supplement, basically subsidize companies to go put telephone lines out there. Since then, in the last 40 years, it's pretty quickly morphed into currently the largest national program that offers a monthly broadband benefit for qualifying households. Oregon Lifeline is the combination of that federal program, and then Oregon is fairly unique. We supplement the federal Lifeline program with $10 additional in a monthly benefit. So in Oregon, for qualifying households, you can receive up to currently 1925 a month towards broadband. Qualifying households, I put all the stuff there, but it's 135% federal poverty level, qualifying for any of these other benefit programs. An important piece of note, though, about Lifeline is that providers have to opt in, and that's an important conversation specifically here in Portland, where not all of our providers participate. So what's the kind of win we're talking about? What is the change in the program? So Oregon Lifeline is changing. It's in the process of kind of reforming right now, and actually Oregon Lifeline is only just now becoming the official name of the program. It used to be the Oregon Telephone Assistance Program. But in 2024, the Affordable Connectivity Program ran out of money. The Affordable Connectivity Program was a massive monthly broadband benefit with very like high low barrier of entry. It was like 200% FPO, so it easier for folks to get access to. It was a large COVID was the catalyst for it, but monthly broadband benefit. In 2024, it ran out of funding and it hasn't been refunded. Oregon decided that with House Bill 3148 that we wanted to try to fill that gap left by the Affordable Connectivity Program by increasing the Oregon component of Lifeline from $10 a month to $15 a month, bringing the total benefit to $25.95 a month. That benefit amount is actually higher in tribal areas as well, though I don't know the amount off the top of my head. And in addition, it also adds, and this is unique to Oregon Lifeline, no other state's Lifeline programs do this to my knowledge, we offer a one-time $100 benefit towards purchases that include a device, so a laptop. And I say purchases that include because Lifeline had this program, but you could actually only buy a $100 device, which I'm not sure if anybody's used a $100 Chromebook in recent times, but they're not very good. They are barely sufficient to meet the needs of an average modern person in America. So the $100 benefit also drives participation in the monthly program, right? You sign up to get the $100 benefit, and then you end up getting a lot more from the monthly benefit over time. So how is this specifically going to impact Portland? This is obviously my perspective as a staff member at Portland, but just to give you all some numbers, in Oregon, almost at its peak, almost 50,000 households, 49,000 approximately, were receiving Affordable Connectivity Program benefits. That's a huge number. And once that program ran out of money, all we were left with was traditional Lifeline, was the original Oregon supplement. And that brings the number down to 12,000, approximately 12,000 participating households. Obviously a huge drop, and that's what this bill is intended to try to rectify, is to increase that number again. Unfortunately, Portland also has limited provider support. So currently, Ziply Fiber and Quantum CenturyLink are our only wireline, like home broadband providers that offer Lifeline in Portland. And that's also soon to be changing because, as was announced earlier this year, AT&T is buying all of CenturyLink, which under the banner of Lumen, all of their fiber business, which includes their fiber business here in Portland. And AT&T does not participate universally in Lifeline. So it is unclear as of right now whether they're going to continue to participate in Portland. I will also note that our largest provider in Portland is Comcast, and they do offer their own low-cost program, Internet Essentials. However, access to Lifeline could also even supplement that program. It is possible to reduce that cost even more. So what's next? This is my last slide, and then we can dive into the actual conversation, Hector. So currently the Oregon Public Utilities Commission is in the rulemaking procedure for implementing House Bill 3148. The rules are actually what's going to define the increase in the monthly benefit from $10 to $15, the Oregon contribution. So we're encouraging our community partners to participate and pay attention to this rulemaking process, and the city of Portland will be participating. We're also encouraging providers to participate in Lifeline. So as part of community technology, our franchise utility program has contact with all providers that operate within our right of way. So whenever we have those conversations with a provider that doesn't participate in Lifeline, we're including that in part of the conversation, encouraging them to do so. And finally, trying to keep community informed about their options, let people know, hey, if you have Ziply or if you have CenturyLink, you may be able to get Lifeline and reduce your monthly amount you have to pay. Okay.
All right.
That's all. I'll stop sharing so we can be more of the prominent figures.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing all this information. I wonder, because this is something that somebody who might need some support to access internet. So what is that household or individual can do in general?
Yeah, so a part of Oregon being unique in that we supplement Lifeline, we are also one of only three states, it's Oregon, California, and Texas, that we our state opts into managing our own application process. So households that purchase internet from a provider that participates in Lifeline and they meet the qualifications for the program, they can actually just apply at the Public Utility Commission's website. It's as simple as that. The application process is pretty straightforward. And the Public Utility Commission is also very generally pretty responsive, specifically in this program. Shout out colleague John Cray, who manages this program for the PUC. He is wonderful, very responsive, and very knowledgeable about the program. So that's a way that anyone who thinks they may qualify can look to see if they can get it.
Yeah. So we have a question in the chat, and please, we might have an opportunity to have one or two questions from live audience. And how much Ziply territory is there to? We have any.
Yeah, that's a great.
Hi, Sergeant. I'm going to stop your video for now. So how much?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Territory is there in the city of Portland?
Yeah, that's a great question. And hey, Russell, yeah, we've conversed a couple of times. Not a lot. It's mostly the areas of Portland where it wasn't Ziply. So This is getting into some of the technical history of Portland, and the companies that participate in Lifeline are largely old telecom companies. So CenturyLink, and I forget the one that eventually got purchased by Ziply. So Ziply offers fiber in some of the parts of Portland where they previously held the telephone status. It's called the incumbent local exchange carrier status. I think it's mostly West Portland and some parts of North Portland, if I remember correctly.
All right.
Yeah. Last I checked, they only had like they had 15 to 20 Lifeline subscribers in the city of Portland. It's a very small amount.
I see. I see. So, can you explain what Ziply means for those who don't know?
Yes, yeah. So Ziply is a telecommunications company here in the Pacific Northwest. They operate throughout a lot of Oregon, and in the Portland area, they do offer fiber, sometimes within the city of Portland, but mostly in what we would call the East County. So I think out in Gresham, it's another city in the Portland metro area. I believe they offer a lot more service out there. Um, yeah, so Ziply is a private internet access provider. We call them BIAS, which is Broadband Internet as a Service, if I remember that acronym correctly. But it basically means that you can pay them and they will connect your household to the internet.
All right, perfect. So, well, we are about time, and these are very short conversations, and the idea is also to be a little bit informal. But if people want to know more about this program, so what they need to do? What page or what search they need to do to access and reach out to you, to your program, and the work that the city of Portland is doing?
Yeah, that's a great question. I'll put my email in the chat. I'm always happy to kind of answer questions and chat about this stuff. And I will also put the link to the Public Utility Commission's Lifeline page in the chat. And those are probably the two best ways to start getting more information about this program. And if you have any conversations about affordable broadband services in Portland,
All
I'm
right.
happy to have that conversation.
Well, for those who are watching the recording of this, so we are going to be posting
Yeah.
that information as part of the description, and also the page that we are going to put together after the event ends. So we are going to have additional resources as well. All right. So yeah, you can reach Kevin at kevin.block@portlandoregon.gov. Thank you
Thank you so
much,
much,
Kevin,
Hector.
for
Yeah.
joining. And we are going to wait a little bit for the next speaker, which quickly show up there, which is Sergeant Kevin Allen. And we are going to be talking about our drone program as first responders. Just stay tuned a little bit. So let's have 5 minutes break. Thank you, Kevin. All right. Well, welcome to the next session. Let me bring. We are going to have Sergeant Kevin Allen joining this next session where we are going to be talking about the drone program. Yeah, I'm going to start sharing the screen. So thank you, Sergeant Allen, for joining today.
Yeah. Hey, Hector. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So first of all, let me introduce Sergeant Allen. So he is a 17-year veteran of the Portland Police Bureau and is currently serving as the Public Information Officer. He was born in Oregon and grew up in the Portland metro area. He graduated from the University of Oregon and worked as a radio journalist for 12 years before joining PPB. And, before joining, starting our conversation, this is a fire chat, a chat format. The idea is to be very relaxed. But before starting that, I just want to acknowledge from my perspective, doing privacy impact assessments, working in technology, and from the Bureau of Plan and Sustainability. That is my experience, and that's for the general public to know. My experience of working with Portland Police has been nothing but rewarding, and I really want to express my admiration for all the teams there, because the technology and issues that we face day to day are really complex. Doing public safety for our communities is not an easy task, particularly with all the ongoing challenges that our modern life has. And, on top of that, we want to do the right thing in the right way. That's why we start doing privacy impact assessments, trying to understand how vendors offer their services in general, and start our due diligence of understanding what are the risks, what are the impacts, how can we mitigate all that, and provide at the end the best service that our communities deserve. And for me personally, again, it's nothing but the admiration of working with everybody in police so far, and I really appreciate that collaboration as well.
That's great to hear. Thank you for saying that. Definitely, you're right. There's a lot of challenges that our city has right now, and public safety is a big one. So I'm grateful that you said that. Thanks.
Excellent. Well, I have few questions prepared, and
Yeah.
the idea for this conversation is for our community to understand how Portland Police is using drones, right? So, what are drones as first responders?
So, drone as first responder is kind of I should say it's a pilot program. It is not something that we have adopted citywide. We do have a portable drone program that is citywide. So there are times where officers will, and a specific type of call, when they have been certified, they will deploy a drone or multiple drones over a public safety emergency situation or an investigative purpose. But Drone to First Responder is a pilot program. We're partnering with Gresham Police Department, which does have a program. And the equipment that we have is Gresham equipment. But we have put two drone in a box, basically, devices on the roof of East Precinct. And what happens is that if we have pilots available, it's not a 24/7 operation. It's really actually only a couple of shifts a week for like 5 hours. But if we have pilots available and a call comes out that meets the criteria to deploy a drone, what we can do is fly the drone remotely. An operator can fly the drone remotely to the call and get eyes on the call much faster and much safer than an officer can. In fact, I have some data that I have not released anywhere else. So you guys are getting kind of some exclusive information here. So far, in the past couple of months that we have been doing this, we have deployed about 80 times, and the drones are getting on scene in a little over 2 minutes, whereas police officers, even for high priority calls, sometimes are getting an average of about 18 minutes to get on scene. So much quicker response, and allows us to tailor our response based on the situation at hand. Because sometimes we get calls, we get information that it may not be accurate. And we don't know until we get there what we really have going on. And so getting the drone there to give us a view of what's happening, it's really getting the right responder to the right call in the right way. It's a de-escalation tool. We can call off officers if the situation doesn't require an armed response, which has happened. We've actually had about 20% of the responses have been canceling the patrol units because they weren't needed. The drones were able to basically show that there was not necessary. We've had examples of times where calls have been able to be resolved without any real police involvement, like direct police officer involvement, because we know that we have the time and the space. There's nobody in immediate danger. We've had people who are mentally ill and developmentally delayed who are armed. We've been able to avoid putting police officers in those situations because at the time we could document that no one was in immediate danger. So those are the benefits that we have. And we're trying it out to see if this is something that, down the road, maybe we could look at deploying more. But we would certainly get approval from City Council and take that to City Council if that were the case.
Yeah. If you let me like a little bit of follow up, how long is going to be the pilot at the stage?
So right now it's not. There's no end date set because, like I said, the drones are they belong to the Gresham Police Department, and we don't have any identified funding to purchase our own. So right now we're just using the Gresham equipment, and I think the plan will be to reevaluate as funding sources can be identified, if there's a grant or something that we can identify. But my understanding is right now it's kind of just an open-ended trial period that we can see how it works, and we can hear from our community if they have any concerns.
Yeah, perfect. Talking about community, in the work that we do within the Smart Cities program, we have done in the past a number of public engagement events. One of the constant calls in general, and that's not only for police; it's in general for the use of surveillance, either public or private use. Is that people are very worried about over surveillance, right? So getting into people's private lives, and particularly on drones, a common question that we get is the drone going to be flying on top of my backyard and it's going to be recording when I'm with my kids, for instance, or recording when I'm just taking I have a pool, taking a bath, those sort of things, right? And so part of the work that we have done in the past with police, we have done privacy impact assessments, and I really invite everybody in the community to look into those privacy impact assessments in our website, is creating safeguards, and particularly on the topics, today's topic is digital rights, right? So can you explore a little bit how we are, Portland Police is embedding or managing all these different privacy risks in general, which I know Portland is doing.
Absolutely. No, and I'm glad you brought it up. When we designed this policy and how this is going to work, that was a huge concern. We understand that people don't like the idea. I don't like the idea of, government drones flying over my house, or any drones, frankly, whether they're public or private. So that was something we were very sensitive to. We wanted to make sure that we were using this in a way that is beneficial to the community and public safety in the community, but also is very sensitive to privacy concerns. And so we've put some very strict policies and procedures in place for use of this technology in accordance with constitutional and privacy rights. Drone pilots are not allowed to record or transmit images of any location where a person would have reasonable expectation of privacy. So this includes your yard or your home, unless we, of course, have a warrant or there's some kind of exigent circumstances. In fact, pilots are directed to take reasonable precautions to avoid these areas whenever they can, unless it's necessary as part of an authorized use. When we launch these drones from East Precinct, the video is not to be recorded except in situations where there's likelihood that there's going to be images of evidentiary value, like someone is just about to commit a crime, or is committing a crime. Then we can hit the record button. When we launch, the camera is pointed at the horizon. It's not pointed down. So if you live near East Precinct and you see this drone come up over your house, the camera's not even pointed at you. It is pointed at the horizon, and it's still not recording. The only time it's recording is if it gets on scene and it sees a crime being committed or is about to be committed. So UAS equipment not allowed to be used for random or indiscriminate mass surveillance activities of any kind. We cannot use it for crowd management or control unless there's a life safety incident that's occurring. It can't be used to harass, intimidate, or discriminate against any individual or group based solely on individual characteristics. Our drones are required to be clearly marked. And it may seem obvious, but we get this question sometimes. We are prohibited from weaponizing the drones. They are just for viewing and recording for evidentiary purposes. But we're very sensitive in how we're using it. And I can tell you that the operators are very, very careful about when they push that record button. It's only when it's absolutely clearly necessary.
Yeah. And for those who have a little bit more curiosity and learn more about these, the policy is available in the city's website. It's the standard operating procedure for drones, and it already had a hearing at council. There was a public discussion about that, and I really appreciate all those different measures. I think Portland Police went a little bit beyond to the standard. And I appreciate that when I did a privacy impact assessment for that.
Yeah, and we're glad that that was done outside too, because we want to hear from you, Hector, and your team, but we also want to hear from the community. We have on the front page of our Portland Police website, we have a dashboard where we put all of the information about all of the flights, the type of flight that was done, whether it was done for training, whether it was done for a search warrant, for a traffic crash investigation, or whether it was done for exigent circumstances like somebody's armed, somebody's running from the police in the blocks, or that kind of thing. All of that is on our website. You can click on each individual incident and learn more about it. You can see where the drones are being deployed. This is for the entire drone program, not just DFR, drones as first responder. And there's a way that you can give feedback as well. We want to hear from our community, and if there are concerns that we didn't anticipate, then we want to be aware of that and do our best to try to address that. There's a lot of information on our website, and you can see the policies and procedures that we follow. All of that is on there. We've also created some videos that summarize some of this stuff. So they're really watchable, and frankly, I think they're pretty entertaining. So we would love for people to check out our website and learn more, especially if they're feeling some concerns about this.
Yeah, I definitely appreciate the open data dashboard. And just as for everybody here watching this video and the session, Portland Police, if there are some indexes around transparency for police departments and agencies across the nation, Portland Police is actually ranked at top of all these different agencies, and with the final one is that if you could repeat what was the response time for a drone to serve a call.
Yeah, for drone as first responder, again, this is the place where they're already in the box. It's like a protective box. The door's open, the drone goes out. When we deploy those, their response time is a little over 2 minutes. Again, this is a condensed area of the city. It's not the entire city. It's realistically, the drones have about a 19-mile range around East Precinct, and they can get to a call within 2 minutes anywhere, or about around 2 minutes, anywhere in that 19-mile radius of East Precinct. That's pretty remarkable. That's much faster than any police officer could get there, unless we just happen to be coming across this. That's pretty amazing.
A follow-up question about what is the normal police response time?
Well, I mean, it depends on the priority of the call, but for high priority calls, some of the calls are not necessarily high priority. So it's about 18 minutes for a on the ground officer to get to the call on average, if it's also a drone call out. So basically it's a race, right? So we're tracking when does the drone get there, and then when do officers get there, if they even actually go to the call. And so it's a 2.2 minutes versus 18.4 minutes for the on the ground officers. Now, I will say that if it's a high priority call, somebody's being assaulted right now, that kind of thing, our response time is a little bit better, but it is far longer than we would like to be. I mean, the staffing challenges that we have are well known, and that's not really for this discussion, but it is, I want to make it clear that our response times are longer than we want them to be. And they're longer than our community expects them to be. And that's a real challenge. I know our officers really want to get there to help when they're needed. That's why we took this job, so that we could do that. And so we're working on the staffing challenges. But in the meantime, I think utilizing technology to help us do our jobs and keep the community safe is a really good way of kind of filling in that gap because of our staffing challenges. And so, I think that if we do it in the right way, and I believe we are, I think it can really benefit the community as a whole.
Yeah. So we have a couple more questions, and one is easy and the other is a little bit longer. The easy one is who is the drone vendor?
Oh, who is the drone vendor? Oh, that's a good question. It is not the Flock. I get that question a lot.
No,
Do we
those
have?
are
Yeah, Flock cameras. We do not have a
absolutely,
contract
yeah.
with them. I have this somewhere. I may have to circle back to you on that. I know I have it in here, but I have a bunch of information.
Yeah.
But
Well,
it is important that we control the information that they collect. So like just like with our body cams, they go into our evidence database, which is secure, and it complies with CGIS rules, which is, it's very controlled. Not just anyone can have access to it. And so obviously our Gresham partners and us have, access to that information, but it is not distributed outside of that.
yeah. Yeah, actually, that of course you probably saw the question in the chat so the drone vendor, by the way, that the one that we sharing with Portland Gresham Police Department is DJI, and
That's
we
right.
use their
Thank you.
platform.
Yes, DJI.
Also,
You got the question. You got the answer
Fly
before.
Hawk.
Well done.
Yeah, well, that's part of the privacy impact assessments because
Perfect.
one part is how we use the technology, but it's also on the vendor side, and we usually that work involves everybody in the city attorneys, procurement staff,
Yeah.
experts who are designing the programs, users of the programs, and the general public. So it's quite a lot. Yeah, you started a little right. So to how the evidence and if it's any criminal case ongoing.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So let's see. Another comment. People in East Portland and Gresham are concerned with frequent presence of drones, especially since ICE presence has increased. They are afraid of surveillance. Do you know anything about it? Do other agencies have to report to PPD if they are present in Portland or Gresham area?
Oh, if other agencies are operating UASs,
Yeah.
I don't believe they have to report to us. I know the FAA does have to approve law enforcement agencies using drones in their work. But I think it is fair to say that other agencies have different standards. And so I can only really speak for what Portland does. Portland, we answer to our community, we serve our community, and we are sensitive to the concerns of our community. And so that's why we have put in place some very clear guidelines and guardrails that we have to work within to make sure that we're sensitive to those concerns. But yes, I mean, I can absolutely, what I can assure you of this, if you're not sure if a law enforcement officer you think might be Portland Police is operating, you can ask them, and you can look for the uniform in the patches. Our drones are marked, so you can look up at the drone, and if it says Portland Police on it, then you can be assured that's ours. We're not going to be flying any that aren't marked and show that they're us. And that's really important to us because, again, we don't want people to be concerned about our activity. We want to be as transparent as possible about what we're doing and why, and what benefit it has for the community at large.
Right, and actually, in addition to that physical marks that the devices have, there are like radio beacon signals, basically ID numbers that those devices owned by Portland Police and any other agency they need to have. That's part of the privacy impact assessment as well,
Yeah.
and it recognizes that all the training that a drone pilot at Portland Police, have to take in order to be able to, pilot those devices, and it's also remarkable. And that's actually, if I would encourage somebody in our community, if they have a passion for that and develop a career, why not starting something around drones, right? I think it's very interesting area here in Oregon, and making sure that drones are used responsible. That's part of what we are trying to do. We have a final question that has to do with, well, a couple of questions, and we probably are not going to be able to do it due to time, but so in Portland, police participate in fusion centers with other agencies. And the last one is, are drones used in collaboration with other law enforcement agencies? Well, the one for Gresham Police, we have an agreement. And you can also look at what the agreement entitles and responsibilities for both agencies as well. Very quickly, do you have any comments about the fusion centers?
I do know that we participate in fusion centers, but that data is protected very carefully. As many of you know, and we say it over and over, Portland Police does not get involved with, say, immigration enforcement. And so information that we would be sending to a fusion center would be around public safety, not around immigration at all. It would be either criminal or, say, like a dangerous missing or a missing person who is in danger, that kind of thing. And so the information is collected at the fusion center and then distributed as necessary. And so we want to make sure there's a clear line between what federal law enforcement is doing and what we are doing, because we do have different missions, and we are involved in different ways. And so that's hugely important to us.
Yeah. And well, questions that keep coming. How can people learn about, well, you mentioned about how people can learn. Can you repeat how they can access more information about the program?
Yeah, absolutely. Just right on the front of our website is portland.gov/police, or you can just Google Portland Police. We come right up. Right on our front page, there's a link to our dashboard where you can see an interactive map of all of the drone deployments, why they were deployed, and how many of them and where, and the type of call. You can see our policies and procedures, and you can give us feedback. And so we encourage people to do that. Check us out right on our website. That's a great way to learn more, and certainly you can go on there and provide feedback and ask questions.
Well, thank you so much, Sergeant, for joining us this morning. Again, the work is going. We are actually about to release, hopefully this month, or the worst case, I mean, we're having holidays coming up, but in January, very soon, we're going to release the privacy impact assessment for the collaboration with Gresham. We are in the final stages for that. Those privacy assessments include City Attorney's revision, the Office of Equity and Human Rights revision, of course, the verification of everything from the agency that we provide that assessment, in this case, Portland Police. So keep an eye on that. Well, thank you for joining again, and let's get ready in a couple of minutes for the next conversation. Bye for now. All right, so let me now invite you to the next conversation, the next fire chat that we are going to have this morning. It's we're going to be talking about the speed cameras, and actually we have a surprise guest, Lee Dietz, but I want to invite my colleague Steve Hoyt Macbeth from Portland Bureau of Transportation to join. And of course, Sergeant Christopher Petrov, if you are available to join, please join the conversation if you want. It's up to you. Please enable your video if you are there. And let me stop sharing the screen.
Hi, Hector. It says I can't turn my video on.
Oh, okay. 1 second. Let me then do it. There we go. You should be fantastic.
Is that working?
It is working, and thank you so much for joining this morning. You know, you got a little bit of the conversation with the previous conversation about drones, and today we are celebrating Digital Rights Day, international holiday that tries to align to Human Rights Day, International Human Rights Day, which is actually today. And one aspect of the work that we all do, really, is try to make sure that technology is used responsibly, that serves the purpose and in following the City of Portland's core values, and is done effectively. We work with vendors and you name it. Right now, one of the hot topics that many people, advocates and community in general, have there is, automatic license plate readers. There has been so much in the news. However, so we want to use that technology just to serve better our communities, right? So we have all that, and let's have a conversation about that. But before we start, I wonder if you could take a few minutes to introduce yourselves and what you do in your agencies. Steve, let's start with you. You are on mute.
Sorry, I was typing. I was trying to type in the chat, and so I was had myself on mute. Hi, everyone. My name is Steve Hoyt Macbeth. I use he, him pronouns. I am on the PBOT side, the speed safety and intersection safety camera manager, and I will let my co-manager, Sergeant Petrov, introduce himself.
Good morning. I'm going to apologize in advance. I've been very sick for the last week, so I'll probably be muted so you don't hear me coughing. I've been with the Portland Police Bureau for almost 23 years, and I've been in the traffic division doing traffic enforcement as a motor officer, and now as a motor sergeant and a supervisor of our traffic investigations unit that does all the fatal crashes for. And I've been in that unit for about 13 years, and so obviously my goal is always traffic safety and saving lives and doing everything we can. So it's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Sergeant. And for those who are watching this video or recording of this video, Steve has just shared the website for the safety cameras program within the Vision Zero division. You can visit portland.gov/transportation/Vision Zero with a dash in between, and then safety cameras with a dash in between. All right, so the format for this conversation is very relaxed. I have a few questions there, and let's start with, and the main audience is also the general community, people who are not really familiar with how the technology works and why we are using that, right? Sometimes what we hear in our community engagements, when the people see a camera, is that camera collecting my information is going to be shared with ICE, for instance. And in some cases, it's even heartbreaking because people just change their dynamics, right, of how they can move in the city because they mistrust technology. The purpose of this conversation is just to create, that transparency, those channels of communication with our community, so they trust it. They know that on this side, on the city side, there is a team of experts and professionals that are actually trying to do their best to make sure that it's safe. The technology that we use is safe and is actually well used. And let's start with, understanding how speed cameras work and how that is helping the city of Portland.
Great, Hector. Thanks very much. And anyone who is watching either live or in the recorded version, I just want to say I really appreciate you taking the time to try to learn about this program. The city does this program for very important reasons, but I think this is an incredibly important forum, as Hector had said to myself and Sergeant Petroff ahead of time, that the intent is to look at all the different aspects of public safety. And this program is really focused on traffic safety and saving lives. And I'll talk about that. I just want to say, adding to what Hector had said about the links in this, if you ever need to find out about this program, you have a couple of really easy ways to do it. One, as with any city service or county service, you can call 311. And they will connect you directly to that staff person. Both Sergeant Petroff and I work very hard to be very responsive to constituents who have questions or concerns. And then if you use a web browser, you can put in Google or DuckDuckGo or Edge or Bing, just put Portland Speed Safety Camera or Portland Speed Camera, and we'll come up at the top of that search. So I just want to say that at the beginning. So if I say anything else during this whole presentation, I want you to take away that our speed and intersection safety camera program is a Vision Zero program. Our North Star, the reason we do this program, is to meet the goal of Vision Zero, which is to eliminate traffic fatalities and serious injuries. And when we say serious injuries, that means obviously a fatality. I think everybody knows what that means. That means we've lost a member of our community, our family members, our neighbors, our coworkers forever. And serious fatality, when we say serious fatality, we mean somebody who cannot walk away from a crash on their own, that they need to be taken to the hospital. So our goal in this program is to reduce those and ideally eliminate them. Portland has had a safety camera program for about 25 years. That program has been managed in different iterations, either by PBOT by itself or by Portland Police Bureau by itself. And for over the last 10 years, it's been co-managed by both of us. And I personally feel like this is the best model, where we have both the expertise of both different bureaus and also different sorts of concerns and just kind of like finite ways that we look at this problem. So we currently have 32 cameras operating in the city of Portland. Those cameras, plus we have another piece of it that I'll talk about in a second that's really under the Portland Police's purview. And that is, we have 32 cameras that are actually what I would consider fixed. That means they're installed on a pole in the roadway or adjacent to the roadway. And we have 32 of those. There are two types. One is what we call a speed safety camera. The speed safety camera only is enforcing speed. And then we have intersection safety cameras, which enforce both red lights, essentially like red light running, and also speed. And we only place these. We have only placed these cameras along our high crash network. So we have millions of miles of roadway in the city of Portland. We have 30 streets and 30 intersections that represent a very, very high percentage of all the traffic fatalities and serious crashes that happen in our roadways. The most recent data we have, 71% of traffic fatalities that happened in the city of Portland for that year happened on our high crash network. And this is where we use these speed cameras. So we are taking something that is a very powerful tool, and we are focusing its use only where the need is the highest. So I think that's the first thing I really want to say is that we are not using these cameras willy-nilly everywhere in the city. We are using them where there's the highest public safety need. And in terms of citations, I'm going to forget this, just to give you an idea, we issued 64,000 citations in the year of 2024. So these cameras, we have two cameras for a system. One is on the front side and one is on the back side. These cameras are collecting digital video 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. So I just want to be very transparent about this. This is collecting a lot of video. One of those is just a digital reader. So it's kind of like if you're using your phone and kind of put it on video, it's kind of very similar to that. And the other is a license plate reader technology, which Hector mentioned earlier has been really in the news as well. And that is a special type of camera that I'm going to let Sergeant Petrov speak about in detail because I'm not very good on the tech, which really just captures the license plate reader. And we keep the citation records vis-a-vis our requirements under public records law for 2 years. Those are public records for 2 years. And the video that is not related to a violation is kept at a much shorter period of time. And I'm going to let Sergeant Petrov speak to that as well. I'm just looking at my notes to see what else I wanted to say kind of in the how. Okay, a couple of things. So then we also had the other tools, the mobile enforcement vans. We have 2 mobile enforcement vans. Those, again, it's an automated camera. It's on the back of the van, right? Those cameras, unlike the fixed cameras that are installed at poles that we just put on the high crash network, those vans move throughout the city, again, being placed where there is a safety need, but they are used beyond the high crash network. They're certainly used on the high crash network. But they're used beyond that. That has a Portland police officer in the van. The police officer, just like our other cameras, is not determining when to take the picture. The video is going all the time, and it's just sensing through the technology. And I'm going to let Sergeant Petrov talk about the technology. So I've talked a little bit about why we use them where we use them in terms of having these fixed cameras on the high crash network. I also wanted to talk about the why, which is the effectiveness of the cameras. So I can't see, I'm seeing some stuff in the chat, and I'll come back to that. Thanks very much, River, for that question. But if anybody wants to put in the chat, I'm not sure how many folks are here, if you could guess what the 2 biggest factors are for crashes. So what are the 2 main risks or causes of traffic fatalities and serious injuries in the city of Portland? If anybody wants to put in the chat, I'm going to give you 10 seconds for a little bit of interaction here. Let's see if anybody, I have to put my glasses on, make sure I can see it. Speed, and I'm not sure. I see Andrew put speed and substance abuse, distraction. Thank you, River. All right, 5 more seconds to get in on this. Jenna, way to go. Speed and attention. Okay, 2, 1. All right. So speed is one of the primary factors, and Andrew was correct. Substance abuse, or what we would say is impairment. So however you were impaired, whether that is with alcohol or a legal or illegal drug, those 2 factors are the highest risk factors. The automated enforcement cameras don't really do anything about impairment, but they do something about speeding. And they've been very, very effective in Portland, nationally and internationally, in scientific studies and in our own kind of like analysis and reducing speed. So we have seen an impairment does not include phone use. So impairment is really just like you are chemically altered in terms of your ability to react and make judgments. So 88, we really focus on high-end speeding. So high-end speeding we define as more than 10 miles above the speed limit. At all of our camera locations, we looked at before the cameras came in and after the cameras were placed. we have seen an 88% reduction in high-end speeding. And I also want to give a couple examples from a couple of our locations. So we have two speed safety cameras on 122nd, on the southern end of 122nd, near the Springwater Corridor. There's one on Reedway and there's one on Steele. In that area, we have seen the percent of cars speeding over 45 miles an hour go down by 96%. On Beaverton Hillsdale and kind of on the western, so west is over here, on the southwestern end of the city limits, we have seen the percentage of cars traveling over 50 miles an hour reduced by 98%. So these cameras are very good because we as human beings don't like to feel pain, whether that is pain where somebody goes bang, 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 or somebody gives you a ticket. And so people realize very soon that where these cameras are, and we are legally required to give people warning in these cameras. These are not gotcha cameras. Every place we have a speed camera, there is a speed reader board and a sign that says we are enforcing these laws through photo cameras. And then I want to talk about the serious and fatal crash impact of this. And this is a little more nuanced, so I just want to acknowledge that up front. So what we have seen, and this is the last thing I'm going to say before I think I turn it over to Sergeant Petrov, is we've seen citywide, we've seen both locally and nationally crash rates go down, which is a good thing. Unfortunately, during the pandemic, we saw the percentage of serious and fatal crashes go up. And I think that I won't get into the why because I think that's some speculation, but we think that impairment played a big role in that. So overall, we've seen both locally and nationally crashes go down, but serious crashes and fatalities go up. So we saw that in Portland. However, the increase of fatalities and serious crashes went up 41% citywide, and it went up 9%, so just a lot less at the camera locations. So the cameras are having an impact in the percentage of people who are killed or seriously injured in a traffic violation. I just want to say one more thing about that number and about crashes. I think people know this, but from an equity standpoint, BIPOC community members, people of color, low-income people, houseless people are disproportionately represented in the data, which means, and also pedestrians. That means if you're somebody who's walking, if you're somebody who identifies as a person of color, a BIPOC community member, a houseless individual, or a low-income person, you are more likely to be killed or seriously injured on our roadways in Portland and nationally. So I just want to say that our work is aligned with traffic safety, is very much aligned with equity. So I just want to make sure I made that point. I think with that, I'm going to turn it over to Sergeant Petrov to speak a little bit about the how of this technology.
Hello, everyone. So the basic function of these cameras is what has been in place for decades, and that uses radar. Basically, there's a camera in place, and when it detects a vehicle going 11 miles per hour or more, it's actually a little bit higher based on how radar works. So it's more like you have to be doing like 12 miles per hour. The radar beam sends out, it comes back from the front of the car, and if that camera system calculates the speed based on that radar signal, then the camera then sends out a flash and a picture, much like you'd see any camera do, like on your phone. Once the camera system receives that data then goes to the company reviews that data, and then they put it into a website that our officers will access, and soon the authorized agents through PBOT will access. And then those officers and agents will review the footage, the pictures, and the details of those pictures to ensure that the correct car got captured, the license plates viewable, the driver's viewable, those types of things. On that note, with these cameras, there are what's been a hot topic lately, and that's the LPRs. So, and I want to make sure that I use the term LPR, not ALPR. So what police and tow trucks and other entities throughout the United States have been using on their vehicles a lot are called ALPRs, which are automated license plate readers. Those systems automatically gather data from your license plate. And like for the police, when we use a ALPR, we're usually using them in places where there's a high concentration of stolen cars or reports of stolen cars. And the system then will run each plate on its own independently through whatever database systems that the police have access to. The cameras do not do that. So all the cameras are doing is basically that license plate reader cameras are doing is capturing a picture of the rear license plate. And we're doing that because I'm sure many of you noticed there's a lot of cars in the city of Portland that don't have a front plate. Well, if we didn't do the license plate reader, we wouldn't capture that rear license plate, and that vehicle, anybody driving around the city of Portland without a front plate would basically never get a citation from the automated system. And so I don't find that fair, and I want anyone that's speeding to be, get their ticket, and then they get to come to court and they can talk to the officers about what was going on that day and those types of things. And so then that data, the video and the LPR snapshot of the rear plates, will go to our vendor. We, the police, could go search that data if we need to, but we don't hold the data. Like, there has to be some sort of transaction between us and the vendor, and the vendor has to meet all CJIS regulatory compliance things that are in place so that their data is secure, and we don't just have free access to it. So we log into it. We have to, so they know who's using their systems. Each user has their own level of authority. Like, I do not have the ability to approve tickets. I can go in and review tickets if I need to, but only the officers that work under me do the approvals. And then there's the courts will have access, but they have a limited access because they can't approve tickets and they have to verify some data for court. But in general, there's a limited number of people that can actually access the system and see any data. Now, when it comes to the actual data itself, the cameras do 7 days of high definition footage that will be stored. And then we store the other footage, which is a low definition, for 90 days. The goal there is to have access to the data for criminal matters. So when I get requests from homicide detectives or robbery detectives or assault detectives, those types of things, they will send in requests. The detectives do not access the system, and not everybody in the police bureau is allowed to. We just don't want to have that many fingers in the pot. So they send email requests for that footage with dates, times, and what they're looking for. And then we in the traffic division go through that footage. If we find something that matches what they're requesting, then we will give them that. We don't just arbitrarily, no one can ask us. It has to be related to a crime. It has to be related to a case. So nobody can say, hey, can you check December 25th for a red Corolla here? And I would say, why? Like, they just say, just because. We wouldn't do that. So even for the police, there are steps in place to ensure that people are not just going in and arbitrarily looking for data. And then after those 7 days, the footage turns into low def. After 90 days, that footage is deleted. Same with the license plate reader snapshots of the back plates. After 90 days, all that data is deleted and it's unrecoverable. So nobody will have access to it after that. If we don't get a request from a detective or an investigator for any reason related to a felony crime within that 90 days, there's absolutely no data available.
Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. A very quick time check. We're almost about time. I know this is a really important topic. We don't have much time on this, and but I just want
real
to make
quick,
sure
Hector.
that. Yes.
This question right here is where I was getting to. So on ICE and CPB, they do not contact us for this type of data. In the years that I've been working in the traffic division, and the last 3 years I've been in charge of the photo enforcement program for PPB, we have received 0 requests from ICE or CPB for any type of data related to this. And if they did, it has to be done through court orders and subpoenas.
Thank you so much for that clarification. That's actually one of the most frequent questions that we get, right? And I want to invite everybody. We worked together. The team that you're seeing here, we worked together on putting a privacy impact assessment. You can download the assessment in our Smart City PDX website. We are going to post that information where the recording of this video is going to happen. And in the chat, thank you, Steve, for sharing the link. We try to describe who has access to the information, how the system works, who's the vendor in this case, and try to create a narrative that describes how the technology is being used. One final question, and I think we're not going to have opportunity to have any more questions, but how people can access, can you repeat again, how people can have access and reach out to the program, learn more about this, and maybe send more questions?
Well, I'll just go first, Hector. I put that in the chat, and I'll put it in again of my email and my phone number. It's my desktop line. I welcome dialogue. So I'll give my email and my phone number in the chat. And just so we have it on record, 503-823-7191. And again, the most important number is 311, where you can just call that and be connected to any city or county program or staff member.
Thank you. Yes, 311. Sergeant Petrov, do you have any final comments?
Just on the LPR data. I know the police does use ALPR systems, and they have been looking at newer LPR systems related to the stolen vehicle unit. So the retention period on that has to stay within the mandate of the Portland Police Bureau, and that's all internal. So those records aren't just for nobody else gets those records except for the Portland Police Bureau. So everybody understands that. Outside of that, I just want people to be reassured that the data is safe and we're not using it for any other reasons other than for traffic enforcement unless there's a felony crime. And we leave that up to detectives to investigate those crimes. And if they find we can help them out, we will. But outside of that, we're not sharing data with folks. It's just not something we do, nor what to.
That's something we don't do. And there is a comment there, question that if the vendor shares the information with any agency.
Yeah, we don't share it with anybody, actually. The goal is that we share it at courts when there's a citation, like any other ticket. It becomes a matter of record because we're trying to adjudicate something. But outside of the actual issued citations, even ones that the officers reject that have faults to them, those just go away like anything else. They don't stay on file to be searchable because they're not a valid citation. But our goal is not to share anything with anybody unless we absolutely have to through subpoenas.
Exactly. And vendors also have legal requirements, and it's usually through subpoenas to some other legal instruments that everybody has to share. But those are quite restricted. All right. Well, thank you so much for having some time this morning and joining this conversation. I know this is a topic that everyone in our community, or many people in our community, are interested in learning more. The goal for this session, a short session, is to create those bridges to make sure that we are communicating, that the city is trying its best to do and use technology in responsible ways. Again, there are teams of professionals working in the back. People in the public, and that's part of making the systems better and more effective. Thank you so much, and let's wait for the next session.
Thank you,
everyone. Thank you, Hector.
Have a good day.
All right. All right. Let's come back to our next session. And so unfortunately, Elise Rosenberg was not able to join live today. However, we did a pre-recorded session a few weeks ago. I have to acknowledge and really recognize that Elise, as a new Chief Information Officer for the City of Portland, brings so much experience, and also she has a lot of challenges in the city. The whole world, of course, is facing a new wave of technologies that are very disruptive in general, and that's named artificial intelligence, and of course, managing an enterprise level, technology usage for the whole city of Portland, for all the city agencies, is a huge challenge. Behind Elise, there is teams of, again, people whose expertise is they're trying to figure out how to provide all the service needed for everything from laptop, cell phones, to fiber across the city, to devices that different agencies are using, to security cameras and so on, and managing licenses, procurement, making sure that agencies use technology in ways that they can be effective. The people, staff in the city are trained. Cybersecurity has been one of the biggest challenges in the city. Well, all that is what Elise Rosenberg is actually doing right now. And I really want to also acknowledge that being a woman in tech is not an easy job in general. So as not male in general, going through the ladder just takes a lot of talent, just takes a lot of time to develop a career like that. And we are here to support her, I think. Hopefully, we are going to be doing the best that we can do, and hopefully the City of Portland goes into a transition of, as most of the enterprises right now, where we can use modern technology to serve our community, the public in Portland, much better. People who live here, residents and visitors, all alike. So let me set up here the recording, and I'm going to start. The recording is about 60 minutes long, a little bit more, and then you will have it. 1 second, just give me. I'm going to share that as part of what we are doing right now. Okay. Oh, I think I did. There we go. Okay, 1 second. Recording is ready. The only thing is that there we go. Welcome, everyone. This is the fourth and last session in today's Digital Rights, International Digital Rights Day celebrations. And we are very honored and pleased to have Elise Rosenberg, our current CIO, the Chief Information Officer of the City of Portland. Welcome, Elise.
Thanks, Hector. Thank you, everybody. I really appreciate the invitation to participate, and I'm very sorry I couldn't join you in person today, but really glad to be with you here today to celebrate Digital Rights Day.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Elise, please tell us who you are and tell us a little bit about you.
Well, thanks for that. So I've actually been the CIO in a permanent capacity just since June of 2025, was the interim starting in January. But This is my 27th year in public service, and that's really a value in my family. I'm a third generation public servant, and I've worked my whole career in local governments, 2 cities and a county, in a variety of roles, so finance, policy, and then in IT since 2016. And so centering the delivery of good services in all of my work has been, again, a value of mine and my family for my career and for 3 generations. So glad to be here.
27 years. That's a lot.
I started when I was 10.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's amazing, and I appreciate that. I've seen you also as part of the IT services team while I've been in my tenure here at the City of Portland. I really appreciate all the support and help that you have provided to our Smart Cities program as well. And it's very exciting with everything that's happening in the world. I mean, there are fears, but there is also a lot of opportunities around technology. The City of Portland is also going through this transformation internally and getting just to make sure that the services that we deliver are actually right for everybody. And that really involves some sort of digital strategy around that. Can you tell us about that? What are the plans for the city around IT?
Yeah, thank you. And let me start that by, I have a really core belief that there's no such thing as just a technology project. These are people projects, these are process projects, and they happen to be delivered through technology. But if we're not keeping in mind the people who are receiving the work, the people that are doing the work, then we are going to fail. And so as I think about our strategy and I think about an approach to technology, I really see technology now as really spanning a big continuum from a utility on the one hand, all the way to a strategic enabler on the other hand. And if I think about the utility side, that really plays into some of the digital rights core principles around things like access to the internet. In a lot of spaces in Portland and in the at least more privileged world, that is just an expectation now. People expect that there's going to be internet, that it's going to be secure, and that it's going to work. And in Portland, our IT shop, for example, provides connectivity to over 250 locations around the city. And so the positive of that is, again, that we are working across the community and across our city service delivery spectrum to provide that connectivity and to do it securely and reliably. And the challenge is that's really invisible until it breaks. And so getting the alignment and the investment and the training and the trust around that set of services, part of my job is to reveal that those exist, that those take a lot of time and investment. And I think, again, that's an opportunity from a digital rights perspective to embed some of these core principles in the design of the service, because you take it for granted, and that's also a risk of not doing it well or not doing it ethically. And then on the strategic enabler side, we think about something like the city's website, portland.gov. That's really the city's front door from a digital perspective. We get over 20 million page views a year. That's an opportunity to, Hector, you talked about the whole change in our form of government. That's a great place to silo bust, because nobody outside the city cares what department you sit in. They just need something. They just need to get something done. And so, again, that's an opportunity. It's an opportunity for us to think about things like digital accessibility. But it's also, again, a risk of us designing our service or digital approach based on our own organizational structure and not based on the needs of our community. And so part of my hope and the work that BTS or Bureau of Technology Services is doing is to try to leverage this change in the form of government and the increasing reliance on technology by our community members to redesign or to prioritize technology projects across the city. We have the first leadership team that can do that in an aligned way. And so we've prioritized things like digital accessibility on our top 10 list. on things like enhancing security. So a lot of the concerns and the fear that we have around technology is what's happening with my data? Is it being stewarded properly? So investments in trying to ensure that we're doing that accountably and in the best way that we can. And then some other things around asset and incident management so that, you know, if and when we have the worst day in Portland, we have technologies and then again, people and systems that can help our community when they need it the most.
Yeah, well, the City of Portland is a large organization,
It is.
definitely, and it's constantly evolving. There are so many demands around these services, and I really appreciate all the work that everybody in our team is actually doing. I hope actually that this event can trigger and can incentivize people to learn more about that, to get connected to what we're doing as a city, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And within right now, everybody is experiencing this transformation of impacts of artificial intelligence, right? It's a very disruptive technology. How is the city of Portland adapting to these new changes?
Yeah, thank you for that question. And thank you. You, Hector, and your team have really helped us in terms of thought leadership and very person-centered ways to think about this disruption. So really want to call that out and appreciate the work that you do, work of the Office of Equity and Human Rights, of the City Attorney's Office. It really does take a village to try to do this thoughtfully. And I think it's good to remind ourselves that versions of AI, artificial intelligence, have actually been around for quite a long time. If you've ever Googled something, you know, that's its own verb now in our parlance. So we know how ubiquitous that is. If you've ever Googled something, you've interacted with AI. If you've ever used a map and it remembers the last thing, you know, the last places you've been on your phone, that's aspects of AI. But as you've talked about in your intro, Hector, there's a lot of fear and a lot of anxiety about the developments of AI from a generative perspective. And so at the city, we've been pretty thoughtful and tried to be careful. You know, you've stood up over a year or two ago an AI work group. We put out guidance for city employees over a year ago, and we're working now to have a more formal policy put in place. We've had several rounds of contribution and edits, and we're now working through that final set of edits to put our first full administrative rule out, and that would apply to city employees and people working on behalf of the city providing services, and that's really a foundational step. Made sure in that to lean on values like the city's core values of anti-racism, of equity, of transparency, as well as some best practices, as you know, from places like the GovAI Coalition, 50+ local governments across the US, the European Union. We're also rolling out some literacy training as we pilot, no pun intended, Microsoft Copilot chat for city employees. Part of our pilot is looking at different training and digital or AI literacy resources to see what lands well with employees, what is helpful both in terms of using the tool effectively and in a way that's aligned with our policies and our values, but also providing the context for that the tool sits in around the use of AI and wanting that to be really person-centered. And again, I'll go back to the idea that there is really no such thing as a technology project or a technology tool. These are things that people use to do things that people need to do or to provide services that folks need. And so centering people in all of this, I think, is the primary way that we can use it effectively, but also use it ethically.
Yeah, and that has been also our motto at the Smart Cities program from the start. And the last question that I have for you was around digital rights. However, you have been mentioning digital rights through all these conversation. So let me rephrase that, because I really want to highlight the importance of what you're like mentioning, how we need to center technology on people, and people need to drive technology. Recently, I had the opportunity to go to this the Gov AI Coalition Summit, which is this network of different government agencies, jurisdictions that include cities, includes regional governments, includes transportation agencies. And again, we have been also participating as a city as part of this network. And I was really surprised to see that many people knew you, knew the work that you are doing, and like personally, and having all these connections. And as you say, you mentioned that this requires a whole village, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But sometimes it requires many multiple villagers and village. Like, I wonder if you can tell us a little bit more about all these networks and how they have been shaping you personally.
Oh, yeah. And thanks for that question. And, maybe I'll start again with, I have a couple of people in my, that I think about when I think about our approach to services in my mind. And one of them is my grandmother, who was an immigrant who had polio. So she had a pretty significant physical disability. English was not the language spoken in her home. But she started to work for government, and she started to think about, how can I do some good in the place where I am currently? And that's really, again, kind of a value that's instilled through our family. And she's an example of a person who needs service and wouldn't really know how to connect necessarily with service, or would struggle physically to access that service. And another person I think about is my mother-in-law, who has never had an email address and has never had a smartphone and hasn't driven a car for years, but she still needs service. And so how are we thinking about designing services that she can use, that my grandmother could have used? And so when we talk about networks and fundamentally as human beings, we all have some of the very same grounding. We all want our families to be safe. We all want folks to have more opportunities than we did. And so starting with that common ground, I think is a door to pretty much any conversation. So especially as a newer to role CIO, I've really been honored and helped a lot by a network of other leaders in technology, and from my past in policy and finance roles, because all of those perspectives have to come together in order to be successful. And then I have other interests in my life. I'm a musician, and that just puts me in touch with other aspects of the community, and I just try really hard to be curious and open to those different perspectives, because it's, all of them are valid and important. And so I've tried my whole life to cultivate connections like that, because I think they make me and us give us more of a Renaissance view, and just more of an ability to just make a better decision. The more people that are at the table, the more voices, the better a decision. And then the balance is using that to actually make a decision and move forward. So when to continue the dialogue and when to try to make some steps and move forward together. Always a balance.
Right. I like that. Actually, that's kind of the real democracy, right? How we can give that agency to people to influence like this type of work in general, right? Understand the risks, understand these different perspectives from, we don't know what we don't know, and we really need to listen to each other actively. All right, so we are coming to the end of this chat, and any departure message for everybody who's watching this recording?
Well, again, thanks for your time and attention. I know this chat is probably what's between you and the rest of your day. It's at the end of the program. So, and just thank you, Hector, and the Smart Cities folks for helping us as a city and us in technology think about the importance of all of these connections. And again, maybe I'll end with, every single person listening to this or doing the work of providing service or connecting with the community has an opportunity to do some good from wherever they're sitting. And so maybe we all move a little bit more positively together if we can remember to do that. So thanks for doing that. Thank you for being part of my village and of the village that is Portland.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Elise, for joining us today. And thank you, everyone who has been watching and joining this event today. All these recordings, all these sessions are going to be available in our channel in YouTube. So pay attention. We are going to post that and communicate to everybody. For now, well, thank you, everyone. Okay, bye for now. All right. Well, that was our final session. I see there are a few comments here. You know, even though we have going through all these different aspects of the work that we do at the City of Portland, of course, there is no like total claim that we are doing the best in general. I mean, we're trying our best. We can always do better, right? And we cannot do better without talking to each other, listening, active listening with each other. And I really appreciate the comments, those who join live this session. Thank you so much for doing that. Thank you for the good questions. Please let me just come back to the screen and share again, the links that I shared at the beginning, where you can actually have access to all that. Let me see there. All right. Those links are available to you. The recording for all this celebration, 2-hour celebration, is going to be uploaded on YouTube. We are going to post something in the Smart City PDX website with some thoughts and summary of all these different things that we have been discussing today. Resources also available. And remember, I mean, next year we have more things to do. Actually, we are talking about organizing a community event around digital literacy on information privacy and information protection and privacy. Information protection means cybersecurity. Again, with the emergence of new technology, there are new ways in which like attacks are happening to our information and technology infrastructure. Deep fakes, social engineering attacks are actually on the rise. Things that we are going to be discussing there, potentially some the work that the city has been doing around information classification as well. And just stay tuned. There is a lot happening next. Again, thank you everyone for joining. Yes, these conversations are in no way frictionless. We are going to have differences, but we need to talk to each other. We need to collaborate with each other also. As Elise Rosenberg mentioned in her intervention and chat, it really requires a village, and our city is really many different villages living together, and we are looking forward to that. Please visit our website in Smart City PDX program. Check out our privacy impact assessments. We're going to be releasing some new assessments in the coming weeks or early next year, few weeks and then holidays. And yeah, we appreciate everybody's time today. Thank you for your comments as well. What is information classification? Information classification, we have policies in the city. Basically, we are classifying the information that we manage as public, restricted, and confidential. We only have 3 levels. But we have like several thousand employees generating information, which every single day. That means like terabytes of information every single day that we needs to be classified, right? So we are doing our information security team is doing a lot of efforts, trainings, developing best practices, standards, and all that. And we are collaborating with them on the privacy side. Privacy information security means how we protect information. Privacy defines what we are protecting and why. And those are conversations for the next event. Again, so please, the best thing that you can do from my perspective is go with your community, start promoting better digital literacy, learn about privacy, learn about information protection, learn about digital rights, your rights, collective rights, and let's have more informed conversations about how we can do this better. This recording is going to be available very soon. Some other cities, we're going to share with other cities around the world as well. And yeah, keep engaged. Thank you so much. And with that, well, the session is over. I appreciate all that.